All right, everybody, hello. Today, a little bit different format for video, and you just want to see me in my office. I'm actually joined here by Margerie and Yasser from Anywr in Morocco. So today we want to talk about Morocco. That was not difficult to guess, I guess. So the purpose of the video is really to give an overview of the corporate immigration options in Morocco. We will also touch on a couple of red flags and country-specific outliers, okay? So without further ado, maybe over ladies first. Margerie, quickly introduce yourself and what is Anywr doing. I think it's a fairly new brand name, so please give us some introduction, then Yasser as well, and then I start with the questions, okay?
Okay, thank you so much, Andreas, for the opportunity to be part of this YouTube video. So my name is Margerie. I work as the Move Operations Manager in Morocco for Anywr Africa. So Anywr is a multinational group that deals with offers HR solutions to multinationals, notably in regards to international mobility.
Thank you. And Yasser, what is your job?
Thank you so much for inviting us today. I'm Yasser Ghannam, and I'm an immigration consultant, and I'm working with Margerie among the move and the immigration. I'm sorry.
That's okay. He's an immigration expert.
Yes.
I get that. That's fine. Okay. Yeah. Good. Okay. So, dear audience, so I hope by watching this video, you will get a good understanding of the basic rules around corporate immigration. And the video is a bit longer, so we're aiming for 8 to 10 minutes. So bear with us, but we hope to make it entertaining. So yeah, please. And then once you watched it, like it, share it, and do the usual things. Okay. So the first question to Margerie, actually. So how would you maybe rate, if you can, or describe the reliability and the practical implementation of the immigration system in Morocco? A short answer. If you don't want to give me a number, that's fine, but maybe just
yeah, I want yes, thank you. I'm not going to give any rating because it's always hard to rate something because you need to rate something against something else, right? So we don't have like a system to rate. And as we know, there is no perfect immigration system. So I'm not going to give a precise assessment and rating. However, I can say that Morocco is a regional hub, like an economic regional hub here in Africa. It attracts lots of key projects and lots of foreigners. And of course, not to mention that life in Morocco is quite pleasant, so it attracts quite a lot of foreigners here. Authorities, they have been making a conscious effort regarding improving their procedures, and it's particularly been noticed in regards to the Ministry of Labor. So when you apply for work permit now in Morocco, depending on the procedure, you can notice that they have made a real effort in regards to digitalization. That is not yet to be seen in regards to the residence permit, because residency is a bit trickier in Morocco, as it is linked to national security, of course, and it depends on the police or what we call the gendarmerie. I don't know what the exact terminology is in English, of where the foreigners will reside or live. So obviously the lists of documents to be provided are nowhere to be seen. You can't find it on the internet. You can hardly find it in the prefecture or like the police offices, and they keep changing and being updated. So it's hard to have that visibility on the documents and the list of documents to provide. And of course, the last thing that is, I think, quite usual in terms of immigration is timelines. They are always hard to provide, and you can always expect some delays.
Okay. Look, I mean, then you know, I'm not going to give a rating, but it sounds very familiar. So the inaccessibility of information is a completely African problem. There are some good exceptions, predominantly from the English-speaking countries like Nigeria and Kenya. You find stuff online, but even in South Africa, where I'm based, I mean, it's a guessing game, and you always get surprised by some regulations in here and there.
Exactly.
So But anyway, moving on. So maybe before we come really into the ins and outs of the immigration system, but in Morocco, I know your foreign direct investment is actually sky high. I didn't look at the most recent studies, but you usually rank between the top 3 in Africa, depending which source you consult. Yeah. But is there an industry or sector that is exempt from or has more lenient immigration rules, like oil and gas, for instance, maybe not in Morocco, but like in Ghana or Nigeria, they would have special rules, Mozambique for oil and gas. So is there something like that in Morocco?
Well, actually, no industries or sectors are exempted from immigration requirements. However, we have the CFC status that allows to a certain extent an administrative fast track regarding the business visa, work permits, and a residence permit. Just to clarify, CFC or Casablanca Finance City status is a regional financial hub, and thanks to its parastatal status, it offers advantages regarding international mobility and tax.
So that's like I'm not saying a free zone, but like a special economic zone, like something like that? Okay, and that's exactly. Only in Casablanca?
Yeah, regarding the status, yes. You do have some other free zones in the country that gives you some tax, alleviations. Okay. However, regarding the mobility and, the fast tracking of the mobility, it's CFC.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and in general, what is the quality of the adjudication? Are there lots of mistakes, or is the adjudication fairly reliable?
Mistakes? What mistakes? I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, good. So no mistakes in Morocco. Okay, good.
No, but like generally speaking, and that's true. As long as you provide the correct documents and you comply with the appropriate procedures, everything goes smoothly. Like really. Like 99% of the time. Of course, mistakes can happen depending on the authorities, depending on how overwhelmed they are, because like most, I think like most public institutions in Africa, they're understaffed, right? So depending on that, depending also on whether you have a new hire in front of you or not, who doesn't necessarily know or have the training, to know the different procedures. Everything goes smoothly, but you do need, and that's why, we always check and double check everything all the time. Like there's no, you can't just rely upon, a certain person or a certain institution. You just have to double check everything.
Okay, good. All right, now starting with the real immigration stuff. So what type of visitors or short-term work visas or permits are available? So what are the visitor options, and then short-term work, if there's short-term work, because obviously Northern Africa, we might find out that short-term work is not so readily available. But anyway, Yasser.
Well, in fact, the only short-term work permit that we have is the short-term mission work, and it is for a maximum period of 6 months, and it is non-renewable. Right. So this, if we want to stay on to come on a mission, a precise mission
for a specific project, exactly. For example, yes. And it's of course it's a lighter procedure. So you need to provide fewer documents. But it's non-renewable. So basically, after the 6 months, there is no way for you to renew the work permit.
And is it issued for the 6 months at a time, or is it 90 days, 90 days?
6 months at a time. Okay,
so that's great. And then you don't have, is it just the work permission, or is there also residence attached, or is it because it's short term, it's only the work permission?
Well, that's actually a very good question, because the issue, there's a bit of a catch-22 between the fact that you can have a short-term work permit for visitors that are exempt visa.
Yes.
Yeah, because when you are entering Morocco, like a French person, for example, French citizen, you are allowed to have 90 days in the country. Mm-hmm. Yeah, as a tourist or anything. So you enter, you have 90 days. Then you receive that work permit, which is a short-term work permit for 6 months. But it's very hard to renew those 90 days because you do not, it's a gray zone. You do not depend on the Ministry of Foreign Affairs because you don't have a visa. Yeah. And that the police, depending on where you're living, in Casablanca, which district, or around Casablanca, or in any other city of the kingdom, depending on the police office, they know about the extension of your stay, or they don't. If they don't, they will just tell you, we don't do that. There is no actual legal framework to do it. So in that regard, it's written that it's at the discretion of the authorities. Okay, so you cannot apply anything that is, a legal framework and say, no, you have to do it. I'm allowed to. So it's a bit of a gray zone in that regards.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I think the next question is actually partly answered, but let's still ask the question. So are citizens of certain countries exempt from visitor and or short-term work visas?
Yeah, so the list of visa exempt visitors is rather long, but it's mostly European nationals, Americans, Chinese, Koreans, Mexicans, some Western African countries, and of course some Northern African countries. But you can check the list. The list is actually updated on a regular basis, and you can check it on the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Morocco. And
South Africans, they're not visa exempt, right? Not yet. It's something our governments need to sort out. I can see.
I know, of course they will.
No, anyway, okay, good. What are the typical activities allowed on a business visa or tourist visa with business purposes? And when is the border crossed to a short-term work?
If you just allow me, Andreas, sorry, I missed part of the question, the previous question regarding the work permit. There is an agreement between, like a bilateral agreement between Tunisia, Algeria, and Senegal with Morocco. It's called an establishment agreement, or in French, convention d'établissement. Okay, and that basically is basically a way for these nationals not to have a work permit. So you don't need a work permit if you're a national of these countries.
Okay, so that was
still need a residence permit.
That was Senegal, Tunisia,
Algeria.
Ah, so the neighboring kind of, well, yeah. Okay, fine.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you for that. So, so coming back, typical activities, tourist or business visa entry versus short-term work. Where's the border?
Okay, well, just how Margerie explained it. Foreign nationals that are exempted from entry visa, they can remain in Morocco territory for up to 90 days. And on these 19 days, they can exert any type of professional activities because they don't need a business or a work visa. Along this foreign national exempted, some foreigners that are not exempted from the visa, from visa, and they need to have a business visa. For an example, this business visa, it will allow them to sign corporate documents, attend professional meetings, and the business visa is in general related to all professional activities. As for the tourist visa, it will allow to visit and discover Morocco and all its regions. As for the second part of the question, regarding the short-term work permits, we recommend applying for the work permit when on a professional mission of a minimum 3 months in order to have this work permit, any type of work permit, short-term or work permit in Morocco. The talent or employee must have a local sponsor here in Morocco and to be obligatory on its payroll. That will allow the employee to transfer all the wages received in Morocco. And we have to note that this amount of wages must appear obligatory on the work permit.
Okay, I understand that. That's fine. And then because now it's easy to follow up. So is my understanding correct that you actually don't have that many different types of work permits in Morocco? You have one, right? Maybe two with an exemption. So how many do you have?
For the work permits? Well, we need to, we have the standard procedure. It is, in fact, the most common one. It is called the local hire. It is via the ANAPEG. ANAPEG is the National Agency for the Promotion of Employment and Skills. And through this standard procedure, the local hire, we have two procedures: the simplified and the classic procedure. For
Okay,
the simplified,
but that's basically local hire, right? So that's one category.
exactly. Yes.
Do you also have like an intercompany transfer, or do you have?
Yes, exactly. These are the exceptional procedures.
Ah, okay. And like critical skills or something you don't have, right? Like a list of like engineers and IT people.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. All of these are we can find them on the ANAPEC website, and is updated regularly.
Okay, so that would be local hire, basically.
Exactly. That's the local hire. It is via the ANAPEC, as I said. And via the ANAPEC, we have the simplified and the classic procedure. The simplified, it applies to senior managers, to certain professions, and under certain conditions, like justifying at least 5 years seniority. It is the main condition. Although we have the exceptional procedures, like the international assignment or intergroup transfer.
Yes.
It is intended to employees justifying 1 year seniority minimum within the same group and willing to relocate to the Moroccan subsidiary of a maximum of 3 years. In fact,
2 years. Sorry, it was
no,
2
3
years.
years. 3 years.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. Extension is possible, but we will switch to the ANAPEC procedure.
Okay, I understand. So there is an ICT, it's up to 3 years, and if it's extended, it's a local hire, it's ANAPEC procedure, so it's the normal procedure.
Exactly.
Okay.
Sorry, can we pause here? I have an emergency with a client, like
Sure.
locked at the airport.
Okay.
Really sorry.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just continue. I mean, so Yasser, how long is the lead times for? So how long does the work take the work permission? How long does the work permission take?
Well, if you allow me, I will explain. We have 4 other exceptional procedures, and then we can. I will tell you the timeline for having the.
Yes, please.
For having the work permits. So we have the proxy holders. It is a type of work permits that is intended to managers and managers of companies whose names appears in the company's trade registers, legal status, and whose signatures commits the company. We have also the establishment agreements explained by Margerie. We have also the young professionals. It is a system implemented within the framework of a bilateral agreement between Morocco and France, and it allows to young people engaged in work and life to deepen their professional knowledge through mobility for a maximum of 18 months, and it is non-renewable. We have also the CFC status, as mentioned, I'm sorry. Companies with this CFC status, they benefit from a simplified procedure for the recruitment of foreigners in Morocco. So this procedure, exempt them from having to produce the ANAPEC affidavit to justify that that they can hire a foreigner in Morocco. We have the Moroccan We have the Moroccan spouse, which a type that is intended to foreigners who are married to Moroccan nationals and holding a marriage certificate issued by the Moroccan competent government authorities.
That's very important, actually.
Yes.
It's not any certificate.
Yeah, it is a religious, we can say.
It's like a religious certification. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And we have other work permits, just like work permits for refugees, cyclists, artists, athletes, foreign native of Morocco, foreigners that were born here in Morocco, and French citizen spouses holding a duly validated work permits.
Yeah.
As a reminder, all of these work permits are renewable, except for the young professional who is only valid for 18 months.
Okay.
As for the timelines, we have two separate timelines, I would say. We have for the standard procedure. We can start and finalize the procedure remotely while the talent is still not in Morocco until the issuance of the ANAPIC affidavit. Depending on the procedure, simplified or not, the lead time would be 6 to 12 months, to 12 weeks. I'm sorry.
That would be a lot of anticipation, right?
That would be long, yeah.
Well, that would be the lead time would be 6 to 12 weeks. I'm sorry, to issue the affidavit. Then on top of that, 5 working days would be necessary to finalize the work permit process with the Ministry of Labor. So a total of 7 to 13 weeks for the standard procedure. As for the exceptional procedures, the ideal lead time is 1 to 3 weeks for all the work permits types if we have all the documents on time.
Okay, good. I'm just watching a little bit the time because we obviously we have a maximum recording time. So moving away now from the work permission. Okay, so what's the additional requirement? So you have a work permission from the Department of Labor. Do you still need a residence, and how do you get it?
Yeah, so the work permit and the residence permits are two different things here, and they depend on two different authorities. So the work permit is related to the Ministry of Labor and the ANAPEC. And the residence permit is linked to the police, okay, and national security. So in order to have a residence permit, you would need to have a status in the country, a legal status, okay? So either you are here to work, so you're here as a worker and you have a work permit, okay? Or you're a dependent of someone who is working and has a valid permit and a valid residence permit here. Okay, yes. So basically how it goes is that you, one of you in the couple is working and has a work permit, then he or she will apply for residency. Okay, once he or she has the residence temporary residency, then you can, as a dependent with you and your children, apply for residency here. Okay, and there is also an exception. Another type of residency that is allowed is the it's like a residence permit for retirees.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it's quite nice to be here.
Okay, how much money do you have to prove for that one? Sorry, I'm deviating from corporate immigration, but I'm quite interested.
No, it's actually a very good question. I think it's something like 300,000 dirhams.
Exactly.
It's a lot of money.
Yes,
so
plus pension.
Oh yeah, the retirement. Yeah, you need to prove that you're in a pension in France or in any other country. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, moving back to corporate immigration now. So you already mentioned the family. Just I think you answered the question already, but just making sure. So what options does the family have for residence? I mean, for instance, do the children need study visas, or or is it included in the residence?
So no, as a family member, as a dependent, you need everybody in the family needs to have a residence permit. So first is the worker who who will apply for residency, and then the spouse and the children together once the worker has the residence permit. So as a dependent, you can be either a spouse with a marriage certificate, okay, a child, or a parent. Your father or your mother or both. Okay,
so that would be then dependents, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And the child who goes to school, do they need a study visa, or do they just need the residence?
Those are two different things. So basically, if you're here and your parents have a residence permit, you can apply for residency until the age of 18, and then you depend on your parents. Yeah. Once you're 18, then you have to apply for your own type of residence, depending on your own type of status.
Okay. But I mean, a family of 4, the father works now at, I don't know which car manufacturer you have lots of them. Peugeot, I guess, is there. And then the wife and 2 children who go to school. So they just need the residence.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
fine.
you don't need a specific any other specific visa.
Okay, so and you already answered my question, who is considered as a dependent.
Yeah.
And I think important for our viewers here is to just that the parents are included, which in other African countries normally they're not included. So that's obviously due to the cultural particulars, because the Middle East also has a different definition of immediate family or dependence than, for instance, South Africa would have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Is there a fast track option for permanent residents? For permanent residents, I mean, sorry.
A fast track option, of course. Okay. In fact, the rule is 1 year for a first request and then 3 years for the renewal. But according to the bilateral agreement concluded between Morocco and other states, the fast track is quite possible. Taking for example, Tunisian nationals, they obtain a 2-year residence permit from the initial application. Algerian citizens, they obtain a 10-year residence permit from the first renewal. And Indian citizens, they obtain a 5-year residence permit for the first renewal. CFC status, companies and employees of holding the CFC status, they can have a 4-year residence permit from the first renewal instead of 3.
Okay. Okay. And then maybe I'm looking at the time, so maybe an open question for the end. So are there any red flags or anything you wish to mention? It doesn't have to be red flags, it can be something positive as well, about the Moroccan corporate immigration area.
Yeah, so I mean, it's mostly things to be aware of than red flags to say. For example, it's like in the context of an intra-group mobility, it is required to have a local sponsor here. So you have to depend on a legal, a child company, let's say, and you need to prove that there's a relationship and a legal relationship between the child company and the mother company that is transferring the employee. That's very important. Okay. For the ANAPEC procedure, since it's protecting the employment here in Morocco, you need to prove that you have been working for at least 5 years. Okay, and by proving that, you need to have all the work certifications from all your different past employers, if you need, and they need to be original documents. The third point here is that in Morocco, any document needs to be an original document. Copies are not accepted.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so what you would do with the original documents here, you would have them certified. So you would take the copy and have the copy with the original to be certified, so that when you apply, of course, you're not going to give the original documents, but you need to provide that to the authority first. Okay. Okay,
so you can't come with legalized documents or even certified. You need to have them certified in Morocco.
Well, you can have them legalized if there is an apostille agreement, so you can have them with the apostille.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay.
And that brings me to the other point. Any signature here, contracts, work permits, because it requires your signature, it needs to be legalized. So either if it's part of the apostille agreement with the other country, then you can have it apostilled, or you need to come here to do the legalization. It's pretty straightforward. However, for example, for the work permit, you need to have that done. It's compulsory.
So I assume that Morocco is a signatory to the Hague Convention, right? With the apostilles.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Something else that it's quite complex to convert a business visa into a work permit in country. You need to, but it's quite common. Authorities can always ask for additional documents.
Yeah.
Okay.
We know that.
We know that, but always nice to mention it. You always need to take into account an additional period of time to translate the documents, because here the languages accepted are Arabic and French. Okay. And also maybe anticipate regarding the criminal records for residency. It's important. In some countries, it can take a while to obtain. And also another important point is that any documents here, any certified copy or legalized document, except for a specific contract, obviously, they have a validity of 3 months.
Oh, that's short. That's usually it's 6 months in Africa. 3 months is short. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's very interesting. I think there's a super useful practical points. So I need to wrap it up now. So Yasser and Margerie, it was a great pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for all the
so much.
practical information. And Margerie, obviously, I expect you to get on the plane soon to visit your old town, because actually
I cannot
spend a lot of
wait.
time very close to our offices. So it would be great to welcome you back. Yeah, it was super useful, super interesting. Thank you very much. And the audience, viewers, please, if you have any questions regarding Morocco, please contact us and follow us on one of our several options below the video and ask us questions, and then we are ready to help, and we look forward in assisting you. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Hopefully see you soon. Bye-bye.
Yes, hopefully. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.